YouTube family, how are you today? It's a really great question to ask ourselves, how are we today? How am I today? What's going on with me? Because often we have in life examples around us of all the things that we'd like to be and all the things that we definitely don't want to be. And the real question is more about an internal inquiry of how am I today? I'd love it if you just want to write down in the comments below how you are. How's it going for you? This week, this is all about an empath, a sensitive, and the overwhelm and the power that all of that brings. For many, many years now, we've had lots of books, lots of information is out there, lots of discussions, lots of growth in the spiritual side of life that's under the word empath. And it's globally understood that the idea of a human with empathic abilities is one that can blend with other people's energies and picks up their feelings, picks up their mental state as if it's their own. Now, you know that I really believe everybody is born with a sixth sense. Everybody's born with an intuitive guidance system that's within us. It's within our gut feeling. We have gut feelings about things. We know if we follow our gut feelings that it usually ends into a wonderful outcome. We also know, and I've had lots of experience where I've completely ignored that gut feeling, gone in the opposite direction because my logical mind has come in and dissuaded me from that action, and you come a right cropper. It's not good. The outcome just really is rubbish for me and many of the empaths and sensitives that I have the pleasure of working with. So now my inner guidance, your inner guidance, is something that we can live our life through on a moment by moment, minute by minute, hour by hour way. And that's what this video is about. It's just to remind you to check in with yourself. You know, when that internal argument goes off inside of you where you get a feeling about something, the feeling comes up and says, no, don't go and do that. And then your logical mind is like, well, it's a business appointment. It's arranged. I have to go and do it. I have to go and do it. When we start to have that internal discussion, we join in the coulda, woulda, shoulda club. Sonia Choquette, who I really think she's an amazing psychic woman and all about the vibes and has loads of love and information to share, so check out Sonia. She was the first one I read that coined that phrase, the shoulda, woulda, coulda club. So that's where we lose power. We lose our authentic integrity. And we start to actually do things and live life through someone else's agenda other than our own. All sensitives will have lived that life to some degree. All sensitives have lived a life of slavery, where we've been a slave to other people's idea of who we are and who we should be. Well, now is the time for you to rise in your own power, to rise to the gifts that you were born with. Not the curses, not the overwhelm, not the troubles and tribulations that being a sensitive brings, but to step into the unity consciousness of enabling, of empowering empaths. So we were born this way. Weird, I get called a lot. I love weird. I wouldn't live without it now. And it's like You know, the weird stuff is so interesting, it's so intriguing, it's so amazing. And there's so many of us out there that have abilities that are beyond the five senses. And it's those abilities, those empathic, sensitive abilities, that can now be used to the power of the good for the world. If you decide to allow your power to rise and for it to be a force for good, rather than something to shrink away from, rather than something to hide, rather than something to be ashamed of. You know, I've met people who are really ashamed of their abilities. They're hidden. They're afraid of being persecuted. Well, all that's to do with past life crap and things that we've already led. We've been there, we've done that, we've got the badge, got the t-shirt, got everything to do with that. And yes, that was definitely relevant to actually bring some loving, enabling act of service instead of slavery to yourself. That switch that moved from this third D kind of world into the fourth world, which is all about compassionate action to yourself, which is what we're in now, and the fifth, which is to do with mind melding, as I call it. So any of you that have seen my series of personal connections, where I'm linking into other people's soul and producing a soul message, is all to do with fifth dimensional living. Loads of people have got these abilities. Anybody that's watching this, I would suggest you look inside yourself. You do have these abilities to connect, to know, to understand. You know, some of you will be looking at an animal and know they're not quite right. You might not know why or what or anything else, but you just know that they're not well, or a human, or whatever, or a place, a sense of place, a sense of people, a sense of animals, a sense of the unified field. We're all born to actually link in with this. We're all part of that one great, fabulous, divine soup. And so there are no barriers in one way. There's no need to put up loads and loads of shields. Now's the time to actually explore, what is it like if we drop those shields and we live in such an intense, loving environment that that's shield enough from us being overwhelmed as an empath and a sensitive, to living a glorious life with all of our gifts and coming out and letting people know who you are. Fifth dimension requires that we become truthful and trusting and loving of ourselves and our own abilities, no matter how weird they sound, because then your integrity, your authenticity of the heart and the soul, and your power in your belly and your solar plexus has room to bloom, has room to grow. So it's just a little introduction to ask the question, who am I? And then ask your question, who am I as a powerful sensitive, as a powerful empath? Who am I when I'm not afraid of showing the world who I am? If this interests you, I'm going to have a webinar on the 22nd of July. I invite you deeply to come join me. We're going to have a massive group of people, and we're going to produce a of powerful, empathic, sensitive, loving energy out there into the world. And we're going to have a meditation with the cosmic guides who are leading the way in my life at the moment, and Earth Mother, and sink into a united field of loving, powerful energy. I'm just going to introduce you to how you can make that transition. Okay, my loves, mwah. I want to just pull a card for you today, and it is with this idea of you embodying the powerful, sensitive being that you are. And sometimes it's nice to have a card to sort of like show us the way, or to allow you to have like a mantra or somewhere to come back to. So it's a nice anchor. So what anchor do you need? right now to accept this powerful empath that you are. Okay, so the one that's come up is Muckite Jasper. So Muckite is all about, it's an Australian jasper. And it's one of many colours. It's brilliant. It's one of many colours. This is basically, this is the crystal Spirits Oracle guide from Colette Baron Reid. And I'm just going to read you the essential meaning of this particular card in Colette's words as the one who birthed this idea. Healthy boundaries. Okay, healthy boundaries. Using love would be my way. Repelling and dispelling unwanted energies. Shielding and protection, and healthy interdependence. So boundaries are something that an empath and a sensitive has had to learn how to live with, so we don't become overwhelmed by other people's energies. So instead of walking into a room and being overwhelmed by somebody's anger or overwhelmed by somebody's trauma or chaos, we can in fact have healthy boundaries in our aura and healthy boundaries in our mind and our spirit, where we can walk into that room and identify that that person over there has got a few issues, and you thank your system for being able to recognize that. You can send some loving intent into your own system to put your sacred, easy, loving boundaries in place so that you've acknowledged why and how you've picked up that information, but at the same time you don't have to live with it, because you recognize that that belongs to them and this energy that you sit in belongs to you. That's a healthy boundary. And you can do that just literally by acknowledging whose is this, find out whose it is. As a healer, I would ask their higher self, do they need any healing? And I might send that depending on the answer that comes through. But you can just use the word blessings. Blessings is a great way. It's an easy way, it's a safe way, it does no harm. It's a nice way to say bless everybody in the room. And then it's your responsibility for yourself to take the action necessary that you can stay in your loving state and not be bowled over by other people's current situations. So healthy boundaries, and bring up the Muckite Jasper picture there if ever you need any help in being reminded how to do that. Okay, my loves. See you next week. Bye for now.